Yeehaw! 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 Yeehaw!
That phrase still haunts me in my sleep.
Of all the platformers on the Nintendo 64, Banjo Tooie was the one I felt the most disconnected with. It had nothing to do with the actual game itself. We just rented it over and over again because we didn't own it at the time. Each time we would pick up the game, you would start at a different point, and it kind of got confusing.
In comparison to its predecessor, the game felt a lot less segmented than Banjo-Kazooie. All the levels felt like they were integrated into one another, whereas in Banjo-Kazooie, they all felt distinctly separate. I think this made the game feel more grand in scale, since there wasn't really just a tower with portals to tons of different places. You get to know Isle o' Hags like the back of your hand, due to revisiting old locations for the prospect of new discoveries within them. There was one place in particular that I found pretty awesome due to its bizarre, conflicting atmosphere. Typically, a level of this kind was dark and dreary, but Banjo Tooie spun it in a different light. It was by far the most cheerful, cave-oriented level I had ever had the pleasure of taking part in, and it has been engraved in my memory ever since. I'm talking about Gulch Mine, of course, where the yeehaws never stop. Gulch Mine was a level that just felt peculiar in general. It held a sense of adventure comparable to the old tales of heading out west for the prospect of new land, and to strike it rich with gold. The music itself really brought the level to life and spun it in a cheery and adventurous way. This really is what set the entire tone of the stage. It was a defining factor in my eyes. Cave and mining levels are typically pretty dreary, and without this chipper tune, I think this level in general would carry a very different feeling. Even a slight ambience to the track would make it feel that much more desolate. Of all the places in Banjo Tooie, I remember Gulch Mine the best. I was always in a good mood when exploring its various areas, and I don't think I could ever forget the never-ending amount of Billy Bobs you would have to fight. Not only did these enemies shout yeehaw, but the song itself included the iconic hee-haw donkey noise. Wherever you went, you were sure to hear that same patterned noise over and over and over again. If it wasn't a yeehaw, it was surely a hee-haw. At some point, it might drive you insane. What I loved most about this upbeat mining area was the layout. The large rooms split it off into plenty of side tunnels and other buildings to explore. Some of the most memorable areas for me were the power hut basement and the generator cavern. While these areas were dark, dreary, and seemingly bottomless, they had an appeal to them that an introvert like myself appreciated. It was obvious these areas weren't really in much use anymore, as there wasn't anything in the caverns they were in. I always found this state of things really interesting and timeless. The fact that this equipment will be left down here in a suspended state until the end of time. Eventually, it may rust out due to the moisture in the air or the groundwater dripping through the area. But unless someone came down here and moved it, it would wait in this dark corridor for all of eternity.
Oftentimes when exploring caves in real life, I would think of this same principle. You know, you walk along these guided paths in these enormous caverns, but if anything ever fell into the cavern itself, it would be there forever. Now obviously I never threw anything in, nor should you ever do so because it's important to preserve these natural wonders. But the idea of tossing a penny into the dark abyss and having it sit down there for 1,000 years was both interesting and sad to me.
Would someone from the far future ever find it? Or would it be lost forever? Yeah, I have some pretty odd cave thoughts, but my mind tends to wander when I explore. These areas in Gulch Mine carried that same feeling for me, as I wondered how long this equipment would reside in this mine. Also, as a kid, when listening to the music in these areas, I never knew the clanking metal sounds were part of the soundtrack. I spent time looking for whatever was making these noises, especially in the Canary Mary holding room. I'd try to glitch the camera through the gassy room's walls to see if there was something in another tunnel making all that racket. But, alas, I either died from air loss or had to bail before actually discovering anything. Popping back up to the main room to the mine, there weren't too many characters aside from the army of Billy Bobs that littered the area. Outside of them, you really just dealt with TNT boxes spewing nonsense your way, and the occasional shovel that I thought it was a good idea to pick a fight with you. Besides these immediate enemies, you have a few other characters that reside in the mine. Bullion Bill, who is a prospector, and his partner Dilberta are the main two characters who reside here. Dilberta is missing when you first come to the mine, so it is up to you to rescue her. Canary Mary was the other character that people remember most. Her racing challenges were definitely frustrating, but the idea of this character was pretty sad. Canaries were used in the olden days as a sentinel species, and would be brought deep into the mines within a cage to warn miners of deadly gas. If abundant gas was present, the canary would grow ill or die, and the miners would know to get out of there as fast as they could. The practice was pretty cruel in nature, and if you knew this from the history of coal mining in our world, this character was far more grim than they came across. Despite them explaining that same concept to you, knowing this practice was derived from real-world events only made it darker. It also made me wonder who the miners were who put her in this cage, and then abandoned her. Unfortunately, you never find out, but that still didn't stop me from hunting them down as a kid. Overall, I have very fond memories of this odd mining area. I never knew why they were mining glitter, but I sort of just accepted that it made sense for the world they were in. This mine is probably one of the most cheerful cave-like environments I've ever encountered in the game, and I'll be humming this song for many years to come. By that, I mean it's going to be stuck in my head for a very long time again. This is why Glitter Gulch Mine will forever be one of my pixel portals. But now that I've shared that with all of you, I'd love to hear about your own experiences. What was your favorite place in Banjo Tooie? What kind of memories did you have specifically with Glitter Gulch Mine? I was always filled with a sense of adventure as I would explore its corridors. I'd love to hear your story, so let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You can always shoot me a tweet or hit me up on Discord as well. And with that, thanks for tuning in to this nostalgic voyage to a chipper mining operation. If you'd like to join me on my YouTube voyage and continue to recall the memories from our past, then the subscribe button is just what you're looking for. Thanks for watching, guys and gals, and until my next video, cheers. You've made it to the end of the video, but wait, your quest isn't over yet. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to stay up to date with all my nostalgic content. I highly recommend checking out my other pixel portals as well. There's also a slew of videos on my other channel too, so regardless, I hope you enjoy.